going on YouTube? It's been a while since I posted a video here, maybe about 6 months. Last video was about kind of my goals for moving into 2025. It's now June 2025 and some things have changed. I did get a new job. I've actually had 2 jobs since I posted that video. I'm starting my next one next week. It's a remote sales role. So, fingers crossed that it works out. Second thing, I have a girlfriend now, and I still live at home. So some things have changed, other things have stayed the same, but that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is for me to kind of talk about what's been on my mind in the last 6 months or so. And something that I also have done in the last 6 months is go to a lot more music festivals, kind of a place where, in my view, I can explore and maybe kind of just get more in touch with myself a little bit more on an internal level. And something that has kind of popped up for me, and maybe for some other people too, they've been thinking about this subject, but kind of ties into the title of this video, which is just learning how to operate as a highly sensitive person, particularly a highly sensitive man in a very insensitive world. Particularly a world that prioritizes maximum output, very little emotional problems that may arise. Just prioritizes as go, 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 dominate, kind of alpha male mindset that has really permeated our culture, especially with the rise of the manosphere, I guess you could call it. And it's almost my birthday. I'm almost 28. And I think in my earlier 20s, I was very susceptible to kind of these manosphere ideas. And I do think that there's a lot of good that might come out of kind of those ideas. Just the idea of relying on inner strength to move forward and to adopt and to grow through challenging times and to lean into those times rather than to move away from those times. I think there is value in that. But I also think that, there are some people who are born a little bit differently. Something like I've discovered just through my times in therapy and just times kind of navigating the world. In my nearly 28 years, I've discovered that I am a highly sensitive person. I'm kind of built different. I'm wired different. I feel things with a lot more intensity, I guess, than the normal person. And there's other things that contribute to this as well. My childhood trauma, just the pain of maybe having only one parent in the picture. My dad was not present in my life, so maybe that contributed to the way that I handle and process the world. But, it's interesting being in this moment in 2025 where we have a lot of discourse around mental health and this idea that people should be open and kind of talk about their struggles more. But I really consistently see when it's men that want to open up, when it's men that want to discuss their issues, when it's men who want to talk about the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis that we may not share with our friends and our family and our, the women in our lives, or even the other men in our lives. I see a lot of these things get put down and stigmatized even today. And it's very disheartening, as someone like me who, is more classified as a highly sensitive person. This is the bane of my existence. This is something I've had to navigate all my life. And I feel like it's only just now or within the last couple years or so where I've really learned to figure out what that means and, figure out how I can move on from these things and not kind of anchor my worth into what people who don't really understand the way that I'm wired and the way that I think about me. I've gotten peppered with phrases like, you need to man up, suck it up, be a man. And as I've gotten older, I've come to think, like, what does that really mean? It doesn't mean that I need to behave in a more masculine way. I think that I do behave in a masculine way because masculinity to me is, you know, being able to step up and defend those that you care about. It means maintaining your own values, maintaining your own boundaries. These are things that I've come to practice more and more as I've gotten older. Maybe when I was younger, and I still do to an extent, struggle with, people-pleasing behavior, wanting people to love me and accept me for who I am. I think that is something that I can even admit I still do struggle with. But I don't think I'm alone in this. And, I hope in posting this video that maybe I can start that discourse around highly sensitive men and their place in our culture and how we should interact with men who, maybe have dealt with some trauma when they were younger and are now trying to maintain and find that sense of masculinity that feels comfortable to them. Like, to me, I don't think my masculinity is defined by how little I cry or how many fights I get into or, the car that I drive or the money that I make. I think it shows up in your ability to be unapologetically yourself. So, I've dealt with a lot of men and women in my life who have kind of perpetuated what I call toxic masculinity to me. And I hate to use that term because it's become so politicized. But to me, that toxic masculinity embodies those kind of ideals of, well, you just need to man up. You need to suck it up. You need to stop talking about your emotions so much. I don't know. I just wish we would gravitate towards a society that was more open to discussing those ideas, having those hard conversations about what men are going through, just like we talk about things that what women are going through. I think as a society, we need to become more kind towards individuals that may be struggling behind the scenes. And I know there's so many posts like that all the time. You go on Instagram, you go on Twitter, you go on LinkedIn, you go on Facebook, whatever. It's all, we need to normalize mental health discourse. And in some ways we have, and in some ways we haven't. But I guess I'm just sick of, men being held to this different standard and men being expected to bottle everything up to the point where some men are driven to the brink of quite literally death over holding this stuff in. I don't think it's right. So, if you're a guy in their 20s, maybe their late 20s or their early 30s, even your young 20s, whatever age you are, and maybe you have identified with this a little bit, maybe you identify as a sensitive guy or a guy that's dealing with more heavy emotions than the average person, you're not alone. I hope that in me posting this, we can kind of get that ball rolling and that conversation started with more sensitive men, particularly, because you're not too much. I've been made to feel that I'm too much a lot. And I'm here to say that that's wrong. You're not too much. You're perfect just as you are. You're good just as you are. And don't let anybody tell you differently. So, anyway, I hope that you find some comfort in this video. I don't really know what I was trying to get at in this video. I think my point was just we need to be to make space for men that are struggling and are dealing with heaviness in their heart. So for one reason or for another, but you're not too much for feeling that way. And it doesn't make you more masculine for masking those emotions or pushing them down. I think the real strength comes from being able to acknowledge those emotions and sit with them and figure out where they're coming from and figuring out where the source is and maybe naming it and talking with those internal parts that are inside of you. If you follow IFS or EMDR therapy, those parts that are within you, being able to talk to them and listen to them and figure out their origins. I think that's pivotal in mapping out your own journey. And that's something that I'm still dealing with even at almost 28 years old. So, I also channel those emotions through my art. I channel them through my expression. And I think that it's wrong to put people down for finding mediums to express themselves that may seem quirky, that may seem out of the ordinary. I just, even in these spaces that I've discovered, like the music space, the music festival space. You know, I went to Bonnaroo a couple weeks ago. It was the infamous canceled Bonnaroo that was canceled due to weather. And while there were a lot of people there that were kind of expressing that plur mindset, as they like to call it, I still felt these energies that were very judgmental and didn't really embody that plur mindset. So if you're someone that is going to claim that you are, you know, I guess pro mental health discourse, at least walk the walk, not just talk the talk, you know? Like, just make space for people. Listen to people. We have to be more courteous and more compassionate towards each other. I think we've grown into a space where that isn't happening as much. That lack of compassion. Times are hard, you know? So just be the bigger person and just cultivate an environment that's safe for people that you care about. You know, be a person where they do feel comfortable opening up to you if they choose to do that. Create that level of safety. That to me is, if you're a man, that's kind of what masculinity is all about. So I hope this video resonated with you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.